I, 36F, am starting to realize that my BF, 34M of almost 7 years and I have very different levels and ideas of fun. I used to be much more fun and outgoing before we started dating. Is this a deal breaker? I posted last week about how I believed my boyfriend was having an emotional affair for 10 months, although he continues to deny it. I got some very helpful advice on that post and I'm thankful for that. I have been thinking a lot about our relationship and if it's worth throwing away the last 7 years. I feel like I only just realized how much this relationship has changed me and how much I changed due to pressure from him. He's quiet, likes to have quiet nights in, traveling is mostly for architecture and nature and fancy restaurants. He doesn't drink or do drugs for religious reasons, which is fine because I only socially drink and have tried edibles and marijuana, but I'm not a huge fan. The issue is he is judgmental about drinking and I have changed my habits around him. He only drinks socially, and never have more than a drink when he's there. I also noticed that all our vacations and hobbies are very intellectual, going to museums, architectural tours, talks related to our industry, and fancy dinners with friends. I like all of these things, but before I met him my life also included things like concerts, sports games, trivia nights at bars, going to music festivals and enjoying the culture and nightlife in cities I traveled to, karaoke bars, going to theme parks, escape rooms with friends, being the first couple on the dance floor and the last to leave a party, my other relationships, not this one, or just more exciting things. I was never a party animal by any means, and enjoy intellectual stuff too. I just feel like my life had more variety before and I enjoyed doing lots of different stuff. Too long didn't read. I guess what I'm saying is a cheating accusation has made me reassess my entire relationship, and I don't know if it's worth breaking up with someone I've been with for the entirety of my 30s as I'm about to turn 37. Would you break up with someone if you thought your idea of fun and level of fun didn't match up or complement each other? My boyfriend and I have different concepts of having fun too, but that was never an issue for us. We do what we both like when we're together, while I do other activities that only I like with my friends, same with him and his friends. As long as you do share some interest which you can bond through, it's good. You said the cheating situation made you reassess everything else. I think that's not exactly the case. I think your real problem is the cheating situation, and you're only looking through everything else for a reason to break the relationship. I didn't read your other post, but if he did something to hurt you, that's enough reason to dump him. You deserve better. Thanks. Long story short, I got a message from a girl saying she met him online and he told her he was single and spoke to her for almost a year. He apparently told her he loved her, wanted to start a family together, and kept making arrangements to meet that kept getting disrupted by COVID travel restrictions. He denies it, but he was very distant during the period she stated it happened in. He also tightened up all of his social media a week or so before I got the message, and the day after I told him about it he removed 10% of his followers on Nick. He has no explanation for this behavior. My gut instinct is to believe her. Yes, and I have broken up with a partner because we want different things out of our shared leisure time. It sounds as if your BF kind of drives your shared leisure time with his interests, and you don't get a say about it. Having a well-rounded life together involves doing things you both enjoy, and making compromises about that, going to a theme park even if you're not wild about theme parks, because your partner enjoys it. 36 isn't too old. You don't sound happy up. And importantly, you don't sound happy with who you have become in this relationship. Life is too short to waste it on a dying relationship. Life partner should make you a better person, not drag you down. I had a similar kind of thing happen in a past relationship. He was more introverted and, to be blunt, boring. At first our mutual interests supported the relationship. But like you, over time he'd be overly critical of my interests that were different from his. I was the one expected to change. Regret letting that relationship go on as long as it did. It wore away at my self-esteem. Leaving it was a breath of fresh air, and much needed boost to my self-esteem. You deserve better. You deserve to be happy. Try to give yourself some time for you things. If you are happy in your relationship but want to venture out, take vacations with friends, make concert and festival plans with friends as well. Not everything has to be done together. You have separate ideas of fun and that's okay, as long as you both get the opportunity to explore that. Bring it up to him for your next trip and try to compromise. Go see a museum, then go cliff jumping afterwards. Have a little bit of fun that entertains the both of you. If he's not willing to do it with you, venture on your own or find friends who will. And if he becomes agitated or unwilling to do things that are up to your speed, then maybe rethink the relationship. 7 years is a long time, and a lot can change. You changed, he's changed. It's okay if this relationship is no longer working for you, and it sounds like it really isn't. You're not throwing anything away. All the things this relationship has taught you will stay with you. Thanks, that is true. We had a lot of good times together. I sadly don't think he has changed much at all, which makes me feel a bit guilty/responsible for letting things go on this long. He was always who he is, and I just went along with it without realizing how it was changing me. I was really happy the first couple of years that we were together. It just been the last few that have felt especially boring. Look backwards. How do I, 21M, deal with a toxic housemate who doesn't believe in my disability? So I'm a UK uni student who lives with 4 other people. 2 I like and am happy to live with. Both have gone home over lockdown and won't be back until next semester. Another I barely talk to. And finally, one who's an awful person. He's a COVID denier who thinks that since the worst case scenarios predicted didn't happen, everyone was wrong about the virus and we should have just ignored it, and has openly stated that he's in favor of letting the old and vulnerable due to protect the economy. He claims that experts shouldn't be listened to due to a handful of occasions where they were wrong. He has a nasty habit of attacking people for different political beliefs and loves to act superior while disparaging others as idiots. He's incredibly self-centered, refusing to help with the cleaning, claiming it's not his stuff. He's a racist who wishes that Trump designates BLM a terrorist organization. He's a misogynist who's complained how women's abuse charities have been hijacked by radical, extreme feminists. He believes that ADHD, which I told him I have, is fake, and when I pointed out that literally every qualified organization disagrees with him, his response was that those same organizations think climate change is real. Yes, he's a climate denier as well. You're probably wondering why I'm living with him then. One of the 2 housemates I like invited me to live with him. Unfortunately, that came with the others, including him. I didn't know him at the time, so I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I've given some thoughts to moving but am reluctant to do so for 3 reasons. 1. The house is incredibly cheap. Chances are, moving will see my rent go up by £50 or more. 2. The house is in a great location with multiple nearby shops, pubs, and the house of one of my closest friends is nearby. 3. Moving out will require me to find a replacement tenant. I'm still obliged to pay rent until I find one, which can be very difficult. I can't afford to be paying for 2 houses. Therefore, I need to find a way to deal with him. My solution so far has to just not engage with him, which has worked out alright, but when I'm with others, such as the 2 housemates I like, and he's around, he tends to butt in. Not to mention he's loud and opinionated, so it's hard to avoid his lectures when I'm anywhere near. I try to ignore him, but I honestly just feel the urge to punch him often, and it's hard to resist. Does anyone have any tips on how to deal with him? TL, doctor, I need advice on how to manage a toxic housemate. I'm in the US, so our rental agreements are probably really different, but how much longer is your lease for? And how much would it cost you to break your lease? I agree with PP that moving would be the best thing for you. Not only is he a toxic and nasty person, but since he's a COVID denier, I'd be very concerned about whether he is safe to be sharing a home with during the pandemic. I realize that you guys in the UK are doing way better than we are COVID, but still, if you do stay there, I can think of 3 ways to handle this. You could do just one, or combine them together. Hopefully something in there will work for you. 1. Continue to interact with him, but set boundaries for how he can talk to you and what you're willing to discuss. This is likely to lead to drama, unless you have a backbone of steel. 2. As PP suggested, Grab him when he starts talking shit. You may still end up having to listen to him, but at least you won't be feeding into his drama and giving him fodder to escalate. 3. Avoid him as much as possible. Stay in your room as much as you can. If he asks, claim that some of your coursework has gotten really hard at this point in the semester, and you need to study more than you used to. When leaving your room, if he's around, wear headphones and listen to music, or be on the phone talking to someone. If possible / safe, I'd get a job, spend time at a friend's place, or find somewhere to study outside your apartment, like a library or coffee shop. You shouldn't have to do this, but if you can't afford to move, it may help preserve some of your sanity. I'll be honest, sounds worth the hassle to move out. Are you on the lease? I'm not sure about the laws where you live, but if not, you may just need to give notice and it's up to your roommates to find a new roommate. There's nothing you can do to make him less terrible other than continue avoiding him. What do your other roommates think of him? Your sanity and a feeling of safety in your home is worth £50. Look up grey rocking. It really helps me talk to my Republican mill. Thanks, I'll look into it. Just to ask because you made it prominent in the title. What issues is him not believing in ADHD causing? Because he's obviously a dumb asshole. Is he harassing you about it unprovoked? Are you using it as a reason you're not doing things you promised to do constantly? What's up with that? Your body of text didn't seem to cover it much. No, he's not harassing me over it. I just mentioned it to give people a better idea of what's wrong with him right off the bat. How to be less needy, pleasing in my marriage after my wife expressed doubts. 45M, 43F. A couple of months ago, my 45M wife, 43F, expressed doubts about our marriage. 10 years, 3 kids. For years, I thought things were okay. I did not see signs. In reality, we have grown apart without really noticing. She is not sure why this happened and how she has lost feelings for me. She does not want a divorce, but continuing like this is not good enough for her. We are visiting a psychologist for marriage counseling, have had 3 sessions so far, and we are both motivated to work on it. More sessions are needed to really understand what is going on and how it might be solved. The current problem is that I am working too hard to make things work. I try to please her too much. I find it hard to keep a distance, and need physical contact a lot, not necessarily sex. It's caused by my insecurity regarding how this will end. I have to give her space so she can think about all this and maybe start missing my attention. But at the same time, she could also like that space so much that she prefers to keep it like that forever. My question is how I can give her space without growing even more apart. Any ideas? Too long didn't read. We have grown apart, wife has expressed doubts. Right now I am trying too hard to please her, so how to tone it down without creating too much distance. Glad you are in therapy. Did the 3 of you agree that the current problem is you are trying too hard, or is that something you've come up with on your own? I'm going to say this as gently as I can. Surely 3 kids gives you a great outlet to take so much focus off your relationship. My parents were consumed with their marriages and all 4 kids ended up getting shortchanged in the process. Any chance you might have some love addiction issues going on?